Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Hello.
Good morning.
Super zoomed in.
Oh, it's fine. The gal will come in and probably fix itself. Um, Gal is going to join us in a few minutes. Spence is still out of town. Katie is at a con somewhere. Don't remember where. But anyway. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Anyway.
What's up?
It's nothing up. Everything is just as usual.
Excellent. Well, that's not a
Yeah,
bad problem.
that's a good thing. Alan was asking about the 202s.
I don't even have the chat open.
Well, Alan, there is no, the 202 has been discontinued. I think it's a 302. And it is available through Amazon. Oh, yeah, Amazon Canada.
Wait, no,
made
he's
them.
talking about a grand stream.
He was asking me about the OB 200.
OB. Yeah, not
Yeah.
you're talking about a sound card. He's talking about a VoIP adapter.
No, that's what the 202 is.
The
The
200.
200. That's what the
Yeah.
200 is. The
Yeah.
one with the one port.
Gotcha. 302 is Google Voice compatible.
Yeah. That's they did away with the 202s. They don't they're not supported anymore. End of life. I mean, I have them because I had them for some years.
Was it a little white, they're white at the bottom and then blue on the top?
No. These are black all around.
Oh, I've got something. I don't remember what I
Yes,
have. It's the
they
Google
had
Voice one.
some that had the different color and it said on it Google Voice. This one
Yeah.
doesn't say it on it, but
Gotcha.
yes, it does support it.
Yeah, I've got one of those. Couldn't tell you where it is. Probably in a box. It's in a box, probably somewhere.
Good morning.
There you go.
Good morning, Gal. What's going on? Your audio is disappearing.
Audio is disappearing because my voice isn't strong enough from this morning. It'll take a second.
What did you do last night?
I just woke up. That's all.
Oh, okay. Jeez. I mean, with the time change, you just woke up?
You see, I calculated.
Dang. Pretty good.
We went out yesterday. We saw Kansas.
The band?
The band. They're celebrating
Kansas got some great
50
songs.
years.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It was. Sound was awesome. They were.
When you say we,
excellent.
I'm assuming you and Mati and others, maybe.
Yeah.
Good. So
Me
you
and Mati and some friends, and yeah, it was excellent.
Nice break.
They had Kansas and Israel. That's crazy.
Good. Good.
Not Kansas anymore, man.
No, no, definitely not.
Alan, the 302 should be, yes.
Why don't you explain what you're talking about with Alan
It
for our not clued in listeners?
Yeah, the when you trying to use voice over IP and have your own stuff, you need to have a TA. Um,
Telephone adapter.
yeah, it's an adapt. It turns the your internet service, your feed from from Spectrum or from Google or AT&T to a telephone service that, but you have to have the service from somewhere, a company, but you do it over the internet.
Mm.
Google Voice is free, and it you can put that on it, and you can have like a landline at home for. I mean, it's not a landline in the old uh, standards,
The
but
landline
it's
phones,
yeah.
they can
You can
be
use the
used.
old
Yeah.
phones if you had phones. If your house had a landline in the past and you did away with it, you can use the same wiring, the same phones, and everything and connect it, and you can pay anywhere from. I mean, like for Google Voice you don't pay anything. it's
Yeah,
it's
totally
free.
free.
The box is about $100, 120. You can find it used by people that use them and decided not to go with it. uh but it's a cheap way to have a phone at home.
Well, and this is becoming more and more relevant as individuals are dropping their triple play package from their ISP because they're cutting the
Right.
cord, or they're switching providers and they don't want to spend $60 a month on a phone service,
Right.
which sounds like, wow, that's a lot of money. That's actually what they're charging.
It is a lot of money.
Well, I'm saying you
Yeah.
might not think how much it costs, but
Oh.
you drop it out of that bundle,
Mhm.
and that's what you're paying. It's
Yeah.
very, very expensive. So, it is a great way to bring that service back if you need it, um,
Absolutely.
for a relatively, in the case like Amnon noted from Google Voice, literally free. You have a Gmail account, you go to voice.google.com, you register a local number. You could even port your old landline number in for a marginal fee, and then you're good to go. Minus you purchase the hardware, and you have zero monthly cost for phone service.
Yep.
At least for right now. That could change, and if
Yeah,
that
it
does,
could
there are
change.
other services that are 7, 12, something like that a month, pretty inexpensive.
I've been using Anvio for years now, for because it's for the business. And with them you can get a package if you have the OB box for it's somewhere around $80 a year.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of features over there. I mean, you can go and look if you go to anvio.com, ANVEO, and look at what you get with that line. It's unbelievable. And the main thing is you can have the what they call an what is it? IVR, which is a
Yeah, you
call
do
flow.
a phone tree, essentially,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you can stop spam calls, right? If you call me right now and you're not one of the friends, then it asks you to like press 1 to continue. Machines don't understand that, so they don't, and you don't even hear it ring. So this is like basic things like that. And you can say if this comes in, then send it over there, and you can have if you have a kids in the house, and you could send it to an extension if it's for them. A lot of stuff. So yeah, that's it's a good way to go. and the box is a one-time fee. That's it. You buy it, and if after the warranty it goes bad, it's too bad. You have to buy a new one. But it's cheap enough that you know right now figure 2 months of paying Spectrum or whoever for a phone line, and you got it.
Well, the other nice thing about these boxes, they're made by companies like Grand Stream and
Mhm.
others. The they are they're not tied to any specific service,
Correct.
so you can, if you buy a um, for example, like the UMA box, I believe you're tied into UMA.
To
You can't
Uma. Yeah.
use another phone service. If you buy one of these Grand Streams or any other sort of TA, you can connect that with any
Right.
SIP service provider in the world.
And
So
the
you get some
Obies too.
flexibility. The Obies, yes,
The
correct.
Obies
The Obies, yeah.
also, but like the special package with Anvio, you have to have an Obi because the account actually comes from Obi Talk.
Yes.
But yes, it's a good way to go. But yeah, the 202 is
Which
the
Oh, I'm
what?
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Alan asks, which VoIP service lets you put down $15 to use a device at fractions of a cent? Anvio has a plan like that. It's their free plan.
Yeah, they have a
And you
right.
fill up the account with credit, and then you use it. Now, the one thing with Anvio is, well, and again, Alan, you're in Canada, I
Canada.
believe. I don't
Yeah,
know if you're
they do.
required to have E911,
No,
because you have to put
they
that.
Obi Talk, which and Anvio, they do have service for Canada.
But I don't know if you're required to have it in the US.
Oh,
So, like,
yeah,
for example, Amnon, I think it's what, like maybe $4 a month or
2,
$3.50 a month for
2,
E911?
2.
$2? Okay. So you're required to pay for that. Um,
Yeah.
what is it that
Right.
makes a device Google Voice compatible? It's a deal between the hardware manufacturer and the device. Google Voice does not give you the ability to connect any SIP device to it. You have to use
Correct.
a device
Right.
that specifically has a tie-in with Google Voice,
Yep.
and that's OB High, and I don't know if anybody else, but
I think it's just OBI.
just OB High. And they
Yeah.
also make phones too. You don't have to get the TA. You can get a SIP
Right.
phone
But
from
that's
OBI that's Google Voice compatible. And that might be a better solution
I
for
don't know
some
how much
people.
they cost.
I'll
I think the
find out. Let's take
phones
a look.
are more expensive.
I
Sure.
mean, yeah, but I mean,
I've 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 been using, so 2013, some of 2013, I get to the States, right? And I'm I'm immigrating here, right? I'm coming to work, so it's not like a tourist solution. So I'm shopping around, and I understand that because I do not have a credit rating, I
mhm,
can't even buy uh, a cell phone that isn't prepaid. Right?
mm,
I can't buy a plan, family plan, stuff like that. So I figure if I go buy a a prepaid plan, if I decide to switch, then I need to deal with phone number porting and stuff like that. And my experience in Israel that they have phone number porting, but it's always a mess. There's always something that can go wrong. And I remember as an Israeli being very, very interested in the free offering that is Google Voice that I could never take advantage of. So I said, okay, let me see how this Google Voice stuff works. And I I buy a SIM card for my Android phone, and I registered the Google account to Voice. And lo and behold, yes, I say yes. This is the solution. That number is going to be my number, the Google Voice number, and whatever cell provider I use, that's just a connection method.
mhm,
And then I start saying, okay, can I do that at home? And the only one back then, as well as today, which is that's part that I still do not understand. How come there's only one vendor that does this? But the only one is OBI. Uh, and uh, and so I buy the OB, I do the math. After we rent a place, and I do the math, right? Uh, Back then it was Time Warner, right? A landline on top of the internet connection would be $25 a month, right? I
Yeah,
don't know how much it is today, but back
I
then
think
it
it's
was
over 50.
ridiculous. How much is today?
I think it's over 50
$50 for a landline?
for a
Yeah,
landline. I
it's pretty
think.
close.
I'm not
Wow.
sure.
Yeah. So yeah, $25 10 years ago sounds
Yeah,
as ridiculous as $50
yeah.
today, right? It's like, and I think I bought the OB box for $80. Like I've paid for that box 3 months, 4 months after using it. It's the same box today, the 202, right?
Hmm.
It's like, even if I need to now go out and shell 150 for a new one, which might be the case if this one dies, right?
Hmm.
Because there's no, it's like, okay, not a problem.
Yep.
And we use the landline. We prefer the landline, um, just because inside the home, the convenience of picking up two phones and being on the same line, for example, yes, it's archaic. It's not, but it's a convenience and it exists. And to Nick's point, I don't know how, but the OBs, you can work them without paying the E199. Yes, I can't call 911, sorry, 911 from that phone number, right? But I can do it from my cell phone. So I'm not losing any functionality here. I just don't need the other functionality, right?
Yeah,
And so,
but I think they force you.
Well,
no,
Google Voice doesn't have 911
yeah,
service, so
No, with
and
Google
they don't
Voice, it's
offer
fine. Yeah,
911.
but any other VoIP
Yes.
right,
service, they you have to get
Yep,
E911.
that's
right.
true.
That's true. But then again, go with Google Voice for now. They're the cheapest solution somehow. Now,
Oh
the
yeah.
way they fund Google Voice, right? Just let's be clear, they're not nice by giving the free line. They are there for international calling, right? That's why that service was created in the first place. And international calling wisdom is rather cheap too. So and that funds that specific channel. So thankfully, it's a free service that they haven't axed all these years, primarily because it's probably it brings some revenue, even if it's not very meaningful. It brings in revenue. So yeah, awesome thing. I do
Well,
understand that if you have an iPhone, then it's a clunkier to operate because you
yes.
need dial from their app. Um, and I can say that in modern, for some reason, and this bugs me, but in modern Android implementation, it is not as perfect as it used to be in Android 3 and Android 4, right? Like there, it was completely seamless. Today, there are issues from time to time. So there's that. Somehow I mean, this is another pet peeve with them, right? They've never been good at supporting legacy services that they've created. They either fully develop them or they go with some new branding that nobody understands.
So I'm actually looking at this. It looks like OBI got purchased by Polycom. Um,
Right.
when the OBI 300 is a Polycom device. So looks
The,
like they've been
there were
purchased.
always a Polycom devices,
No,
but it was OB high.
Correct. Yeah,
not
they were always
not always.
Polycom
Like
devices,
2015, 2016, that's when they became Polycom.
but
Okay.
they were always Polycom devices branded as
Yeah.
OBI devices. There was always the same hardware. But now now the OBI 300 just says Polycom. There's no indication that it's an OBI device at all.
Yeah, more than that, I think Amnon and I were looking at it about a month ago. There's nothing about Google Voice in the marketing material on
There
Polycom.
is. Oh,
Then
well,
they
on the OBI 300, I'm on their website. Um, I'll post the link in there. If it does, there's a big button that says works with Google Voice on the 300, which by the way is on sale on Amazon right now for $45.
Wow.
Um,
oh that
yeah,
I
I'll
know
post
what
the link in there as well. See, 46.90. Actually, no, there's a coupon, so it's cheaper than that. It'll be, let's see,
for the
add
300.
for the 300, yeah. So the 300 is, if you add it to your cart, is 42.29.
That
So,
is unbelievable. Yeah.
yep. And I'll tell you what, man, Polycom makes some real.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Polycom is a real nice. I mean, their stuff's very proprietary, but in terms of a reputable, not going anywhere phone brand, I don't think you'll find somebody that's going to be more consistently stable than Polycom.
Yep. And they've been in business for a long time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, well, there you
Yep.
go.
All right. Alan, I hope we answered your question.
And I put a link in Anvio there as well.
Yeah. I see.
Anvio's website looks terrible.
I
At least
know.
the homepage, it looks very antiquated.
Oh,
But their UI and their back end is pretty remarkable. Can do a lot of cool stuff there.
yep. All right. Let's dive into some news here. Windows 11 update. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about WinRAR and why they have a problem with it. And God was saying, yeah, why not use 7-zip, uh, which I have been. But Microsoft has added the ability to open more archive types. Previously, Windows could only open zip files. Now, Windows can open more. Probably the two most welcome types are .7z and .rar files. Windows adds native support for reading these additional archives file formats using the LibArchive open source project.
Yes.
The list of the new archives is .tar, .tar.gz, .tar.bz2, .tar.zst, .tar. Well, .tars, .tgz, .tbz2, .tzst,
Yeah,
.txz,
everything with the T is a tar. It's just
yeah,
shorthand. Yeah.
and then rar and 7z. So they're talking about opening them. I'm assuming you cannot create archives, maybe, but it may be, and they're just not mentioning it
Well,
in this article.
it depends on the LibArchive implementation that they're taking because LibArchive can read um, a whole slew of images, and it can create from that list almost everything except I think RARs. Because creating a RAR requires paying royalties.
Okay. Well, but that's nice. Now you don't need to have any of these because most of us these days we open them. We don't. I mean, it's been a long time since I actually zipped the file, but I'm sure every now and then I do it. Yeah, and at that time, it's by default it's that 7z. But just to
But this
open,
is
it's nice.
this is interesting on on a couple of fronts, I think. The
Okay.
most interesting one is Microsoft clearly stating, right, not only that they're going to support these archives, like not only are we introducing a new feature, we're introducing a new feature based on a specific open source library, one that they do not manage, right? Uh, that that is fantastic. That I don't think I thought that they would come. I mean, they did
Yeah,
a lot of open source in the past, um, and embracing open source is their new norm. But this is like incorporating open source from another group, right, into Windows. That is very interesting.
it's a good. It's
Um,
a good thing.
it's a phenomenal thing. Don't get
Oh,
me wrong,
yeah.
right? It's just that it's like a foreign piece of music that you hear for the first time. It's like I wasn't expecting that. So yeah,
Yeah. All right. Here's another interesting thing. Google is getting ready, or maybe already did it because this is from 2 weeks ago, to test a new IP protection feature for the Chrome browser that enhances users' privacy by masking their IP address using proxy servers. So this is like sort of like VPN in a way. Recognizing
what's what's
recognizing the
new about this?
potential misuse of addresses for covert tracking, Google seeks to strike a balance between ensuring users' privacy and the essential functionalities of the web. IP addresses allow websites and online services to track activities across websites, thereby facilitating the creation of persistent user profiles. This poses significant privacy concern. This poses significant privacy concerns as, unlike the third-party cookies, users currently lack a direct way to evade such covert track. So,
Use Tor.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because yesterday, I don't know, we were sitting and talking here and everything, and um, how to stay safe online. And Hannah brought up Tor and dark web, and I said, "What do you care about the dark web?" She said, "Just to be safe." I said, "No, that's not what dark web is for." And
Well, yes, it's exactly what it's for,
what to
but
say it
it's
to?
being misused
Yeah,
also,
okay,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
But the thing is, she said that a friend of hers showed her, and she said everything is so slow, and I guess it's
true.
because it's a lot of hopping to.
No, dark web is more than that. So,
Okay.
uh, crash course in internet, right? The reason it's called internet, it's because it's an interconnection of networks. But
Hmm.
eventually, each endpoint is identifying exactly where it's coming from, right?
Right.
And so when you access www.google.com, DNS does some work to give you an IP, but eventually that IP points to a machine that you're going to talk with. Okay. So dark web is on top of this layer because everything underneath still needs to work. The internet needs to work exactly as it works. Dark web is a layer on top of it. But when you get an endpoint that you connect to, you have zero idea where that endpoint is. And there is no direct line between you and that point.
Hmm.
All of the systems on top that are running this network on top of the internet, they are busy sending out messages out, right? In a way that will ensure some sort of path is created, but nobody in any point in that path basically knows where any of the endpoints are.
Right.
just by me explaining this, you understand that there's so much complexity there that it's not a simple point to point. And so, because of that, there's a lot of processing involved and there's a lot of obfuscating involved. And yes, that means everything's going to be slower. So, um, it is an
A-
interesting concept, right? But it's tough to establish,
And she was saying, also mentioning that, yeah, you need to download the Tor browser,
right?
and then you have to also download and install uh, the Onion router.
No, if you install the Tor browser, it is packed with the Onion router, and it takes care of everything
Oh,
automatically.
okay. I
If
mean,
you
she
want to
was
use
reading while
your
we
your
were.
regular browser, you can install the Onion router and connect your browser, like connect the local proxy created on your machine, which is the Onion
Router.
router, right? That will be your proxy for everything that you access outside. So yes, it changes everything. So think about this: you have an HTTP connection to a website, right?
Right.
That is always faster than an HTTPS connection to the
Correct.
website
Yeah.
because there's encryption involved, and encryption requires CPU,
Hmm.
right? And there's an additional step. So here, on top of HTTPS connection, right, you also have additional obfuscation and encryption schema. So that's why everything automatically becomes slow. Now, all of the nodes in the network, there isn't any company that makes money that runs any of these nodes, right? These are all participant in the network. You can choose that your Tor router will also be an active node, and others can connect through it and go outside the world to it. Okay. That also means that in terms of the ISP monitoring your activity, any malicious activity going out of your IP, right? Going out of your onion router that acts as a node is going out of your IP,
Okay.
right? So that's why there's not a lot of people who actually want to run these nodes because theoretically they're exposing themselves to liability. So, but as a user, as an end user, you're safe because you are not going out to any website. You're not going out from your IP. You're always at least one hop, if not more, usually more, going. So, one of the interesting things is you open the Tor browser and you open like some sort of an IP info page that shows what's your IP and where you're connected from, etc., and all of the details that an IP exposes. And you refresh it every few minutes, and you see that like every few seconds you're suddenly at a different IP. You're suddenly this goes
Hmm.
out from Germany, this goes out from the Netherlands, this goes out from the US, this goes out from Israel, this goes out like from India. You're all over the place, right? And that's what the Tor browser provides. And the reason they call it an onion is because that's the idea, the layers of
The
an onion,
layers.
right?
Yeah.
It's a very simple concept in implementation, uh, and and none of these nodes hold up a log that can be used to track back.
Yeah, because
Okay?
there is no back.
I mean,
It's
theoretically,
erased,
you
kind of.
can if you know, I know to which node I connect, right? Like that, my log should contain the IP of that log. And then you go there and you take charge of that log and you can grab that. And if you have access to all of the points, theoretically, you will be able
Theor-
to create a path. Now, that path changes, right, every few minutes.
Mhm.
So that makes it even harder because it'll take more than a few minutes to just figure out a path. And on top of that, the logs are designed in such a way that unless you really activate, full logging, then that those details are not there. That's how your privacy is preserved.
And
It's
that
still point to point from node to node, right? So
That's why the criminals are using it.
That's why anybody that wants to be anonymous uses it. And yes, some of these are criminals.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't know that you can just if you download just Tor and use it, that it's gonna help you
Yeah,
with.
Tor started as the router. The Tor browser is basically Firefox baked with the router in it,
Hmm.
already installed and already configured. And when it launches, it just asks a few questions and it connects you to the network. So
But
the
if
Tor
you
browser just makes it very, very easy to connect with.
and will it also slow down your experience on the web? Forget about doing
So you can, even in the Tor browser, if that is your sole browser for using the internet,
right?
even there you can configure it for these websites, go through the Tor proxy, for these don't. And you can switch off and switch on the proxy.
Yeah, that's if you have a plan to go and do something that you, hey, I don't want people to find out that I'm doing this. But for your regular person that's just, well, hey, I want to be safer online.
Use Firefox.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So,
I mean, it's Firefox. So
yeah.
it is
All right.
Firefox baked into a package. So
Okay.
use Firefox. Yeah.
All right.
If you want the Tor capability, use the Tor browser.
And that's only if you really want to hide because you're doing something that you should be hiding.
Or you want to access
'Cause
something that is only available
there's
on the
only
Tor
yeah.
network,
Yeah, and
which
that's
is
why
usually servers that are either very busy in preserving their identity, or or they offer access to things that certain, let's say, your government, your local government doesn't approve of, right? You you want to access the web, you want to search for news from the outside, but your government prevents it from you.
mhm.
We live in the US. That sounds ridiculous, but there are places in the world where that is not ridiculous. Uh, and even in those countries, so first of all, it's pretty easy to block Tor access. The reason is you connect to Tor. The first thing you need to do is you need to know an address of a node. So, in order for you to connect to these nodes, right? There's a global catalog that it fetches, and then it picks up in random something from there and connect. But that global, the moment you have a global catalog, you can block that global catalog, right? Not a problem. So, but still, if you know of a specific IP address that runs a node that is safe, you can use that to connect to the network, and then from there, it'll figure out how to connect you. So people are using the Tor network to do exactly that. What is, let's define criminal activity, okay? Criminal activity is against the law, but what if the law that you're living on under, right, doesn't make any sense, right? It's so oppressive that you will find a way to circumvent it, right? Locations like North Korea, locations like um, uh, that were under Taliban ruling, right? Locations that are under ISIS ruling. Uh, there are dictatorships still, right? China, right? Not clearly a dictatorship, but very oppressive regime, right? That has very a lot of control on what people say and how, stuff like that. So the Tor network is a godsend for locations like that. That's the only access that they can get to free information. So it's not necessarily a mobster or a pirate, right?
Yeah, and at the end, I mean, she was saying, but I mean, she said, that I don't have anything to hide. So should I use it? And I said, I don't know. Listen, tomorrow morning we'll talk about it.
I would say if you're curious, right, use it. But there should always be um, a use case, right? I can tell you that one of the reasons I use Tor, I spin it up very, very rarely. And when I do spin it up, I spin it up because I need to access a website that only provides something on Tor. For example, we talked about, I think we talked about it in the past, the Z library Genesis, also known as New Genesis. It's basically a huge pile of either scanned or um, un-DRM'd digital books, right? Like from every type of every language, every genre. Uh, if that book is popular enough to be of interest to people, and probably aged more than a year or two out, there's a good chance that it's on the Genesis library. And for a time, they were only accessible through Tor because DNS providers had to block the IPs, right, because of court orders and such. They have new DNSs today, new DNS names. They're for now they're functioning on the plain web, but they were always accessible through Tor. That is an example of a usage of Tor. Does that make me a thief for wanting to
Mm,
download a book that I cannot access anywhere else? I cannot even buy it properly online. I don't know. Like it's a gray area, right? Um, uh, am I am I doing something against the written law? Probably. Uh, but that allows me to at least go and check if that exists.
yeah. All right. That's good information there. Absolutely. Thanks, Scott. Nick, you ready for specials?
Sure.
All right.
All right. We've got another week of a picture of a computer gone wrong. This appears to be some sort of metro system. It's got a display screen in there. You can see that said display screen has got a Windows 10 or Windows 11 blue screen. This is what you used to, what a blue screen would have looked like in the past, but the newer Windows 10 or 11 version of a blue screen. Your PC, what exactly does it say? Needs to be repaired. It's the old Windows blue screen in a train or something like that. Pretty funny. All right,
So this is Windows 7, right?
no, it's got to be 10 or 11, right? Isn't that where this screen started?
I think in 10 we have that screen
The
with the
Smiley
sad face?
barcode, the
with
Oh,
this.
QR
with the
code.
QR code. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. You're right. This might be Windows 8 or
Oh,
8.1
maybe,
now.
maybe.
Because Windows 7 still was a traditional blue screen, the old school blue screen. Interesting. Yeah. Some sort of can't figure out what current stop you're at because the computer is blue screened. All right, let's take a look at a couple of specials as we approach. Before we get into this, Gal, have you noted and seen online how everything is already being marketed as Black Friday?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I've seen too many Black Friday ads.
Already, but not even ads. Like these are things that are already being marketed as Black Friday deals, and it's November 5th, which is just really bizarre to me. So I'll point those out when we find them. Here is our first. It's over at Newegg. This is, and I see I forgot to put the price on there. This is the Asus VivoBook 15. It's a 15.6-inch FHD laptop running an AMD Ryzen 5 5608 CPU. It's got AMD built-in Radeon graphics because it is a AMD chip, similar to what you would see with the Intel Iris graphics. 16 gigs of RAM, so it's already got a little bit of power under the hood, and a 512 gigabyte M.2 drive. Windows 11. This is on sale. This is a really good price on this over at Newegg. You can get this for $3.99. Is the sale price on this? So you're getting a pretty deep discount. There's a 10% off coupon when you buy this over at Newegg, and this is a relatively modern computer. Again, it's 15.6 inch, so it's a bigger boy. It's
It's a
not
full keyboard.
full keyboard with the numpad, so
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the most portable thing in the world, but hell, it's got some power. And for sub $400, this is a really really good deal. That Ryzen is a 6-core 12 thread and can boost up to 4.2 gigahertz. So you're getting a really pretty powerful computer for less than $400, and this is part of their Black Deal Friday price protection program, whatever the hell that means over at Newegg. Um, so you can check that out. The link is in the specials for that. Make sure you use the promo code ZIPFAN. You'll see it right there on the homepage for the product if you're going to purchase that. Next up, this is a Black Friday deal at Best Buy. This is an LG 65-inch 4K UHD smart television running WebOS. That's LG's smart TV functionality. How about $399 for a 65-inch LG TV? Now, we've had plenty of sub $400 65 inches, but you'd typically be looking at a TCL or a Hisense or some of those brands, or even a Vizio, which again are all good televisions. But LG is a different brand. LG, you put LG and Samsung and Sony into that brand of the kind of top tier television manufacturers. So to get this for less than $400 is a pretty good deal. They've also got sales on their 75-inch and 55-inch version of this as well. So if you click the link, you can scroll down and see the different sizes, and the prices vary on that. $399 for a 65-inch LG television is a pretty damn good deal.
Mhm.
Full 4K resolution, and it's available over at Best Buy on Black Friday. How about this for you? How about a Roborock Q7? This is a robot vacuum that is made by this company Roborock, and this is the equivalent to the um, Roomba, which of course has been popular now for the last decade and a half or so. This is normally a $600 robot, and on Amazon there is a $270 coupon clip that you just tick the little button, and the price will come all the way down to $330. Um, in terms of some of the features and functionality of this that is relevant, it's got 4200 PA worth of suction, which means that this is pretty decent on light carpet. If you've got really thick, dense carpet, this is not the vacuum for you. This is mostly for hardwood and small little throw rugs and things like that. It says it's designed for pet hair. There is a problem with some of these vacuums where the pet hair gets kind of caught in the little impeller thing that moves around and can jam it up pretty quickly. So this one is aware and ready to deal with that. It's got no-go vacuuming and no-go mop zones. It supports 180 minutes worth of runtime off of a single use, which is pretty good. So this has got a lot of cool features built into it. It'll vacuum and mop simultaneously, which is cool. So you actually fill it up with water and it will spray the area and then do sort of a mop feature as well. There's a lot of really cool features on this. And it does support LiDAR, which is big. Most of these vacuums do not support LiDAR, and they're simply just camera based. And that's pretty good, but LiDAR gives you the opportunity to really hone in your zones and map things really well. The LiDAR gives it the availability to be really precise with going around objects. This is a really cool product on sale for $330. It's available over at Amazon.
But does it
Next
do
up,
but does it do Windows?
I guess if you found some sort of way to mount it to a window, it does have mopping functionality, so I'm sure it could figure something out. This man, I'm
Thanks.
torn. I might pick one of these up. So that's available over at Amazon. Next up, here's a really basic 3D printer, and this is where I would recommend most people start. Um, this is the Creality Ender 3. This is the quintessential basic 3D printer. And this is on sale for 164 over at their website. Maybe for a grandson or granddaughter, great Christmas present, relatively inexpensive. It's got an auto leveling bed, which is great, which mine does not have. This has got the new touchscreen interface. It's got the new firmware and model for it. Um, these this is a great way to get into the hobby and see before you invest $600 or $700 into a really nice printer. This is the way to do it. So the Ender 3 V3 printer is on sale for 164. It's sold directly from their website. There is a coupon code in the specials link, so make sure you click through that and copy it. Next up, we've had this in the specials a couple of times before, and I put it back in here because it's a really neat product. So on the outside of your house, you could replace one of your light bulbs with a smart security camera. This concept of a product is really cool. So instead of having to plug a security camera into an outlet or something like that, you just simply screw it into a light fixture, and as long as the light fixture is on, you've got a fully connected camera. This is the LaView 4 megapixel wireless security camera. It supports up to a 12x digital zoom. You do have to use their ecosystem for it, so just be advised and be aware of that. But for $19.40, it's a pretty good deal. It's got motion detection, it's got two-way audio, and it will actually even make an alarm sound. So you could use it to maybe get a perp off of your property. This is available for a $19.40 over at Amazon. Next up, we've talked about these little devices in the past before. These are portable pocket routers. If you do a lot of traveling, and you are in locations where you're using Wi-Fi connections and you want to be able to relatively easily connect to your VPN and do some different things, connect your phone to it and not have you know not using public Wi-Fi all over the place. This is a pretty good way to do it with this travel router. And this is a refurbished model, which scares some people, but most of the time, these refurbished models are just open box. Somebody buys this, doesn't understand what they purchased, they return it, and then GLNet, because the product has been open and turned on and used, can't sell it as a brand new product. So they sell it as refurbished. $17.90 for this available over at their website. It's a really good deal. And it, the use cases for this, not for everybody, but if you fit the bill and you know kind of what you're looking for, pretty good deal on this. And again, the size is so incredibly small. This thing at max is 2.5 by 2.5 inches. This is a tiny little device, available directly from them. GLINet is the website there. Next up, Raspberry Pi, seemingly back in sale, which we have not seen for quite some time. This is being sold by a company called MakerBright. They sell a lot of these kinds of products. And it is about a week. It is a week to 2 week lead time before this thing will ship. So if you're maybe looking for some sort of Christmas gift, a good time to buy it now. This is the Raspberry Pi 5, the 4 GB model, and that is available for $60, available over at MakerBright. Two final products here this morning. Our next takes us to Best Buy with another laptop. This is a Chromebook, and you are seeing this. It's a 15.6 inch without a numpad, so another full size laptop running Chrome OS. It's got 8 GB of RAM and a 128 GB solid state drive keyed into it. $269 is the price on that, save 130 bucks. This is a limited time deal. This ends in 14 hours. So if you're going to purchase this, you're going to want to do that today. And finally, we know it's been cold, at least in North Carolina, the last couple of days. So, how about a heated vacuum or heated jacket using a 20-volt battery packs from Hart, HART? This is Walmart's brand of tools. Um, and, their tools aren't all that amazing. I've had a couple of them in the past. They do sell for some cheap one time tools, things that you're not using all of the time. It's hard to beat the price. So you can get this 20-volt medium duty jacket that has coils run through it, so you can keep yourself heated up. It supports 3 heating zones that are adjustable and supports about 8 hours of runtime on a 1.5 amp hour battery. So you can check that out. $100, save $65 over at Walmart. So that is specials for the 5th.
Well, thank you, Nick.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
One other thing to note, Harbor Freight's running one of their 10% off coupon sales right now. So if you're in need of any, again, one-off pieces of tools or anything like that, they've got their 10% off any singular product. So check that out as well.
Good. Very, very good. Again, our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice if you're using Skype. Alan's saying it's actually warmer now there.
It's warm now here too, but
Yeah.
it was very chilly this week.
Yep. All right. Oh, I was gonna bring something up, and I did not do any research about it though. You know how a lot of people are afraid now to charge their phones or laptops or whatever at airports
Yep.
because why didn't some? I mean, and I'm thinking, okay, I charge my phone with one of those magnetic uh connectors, and this is only for charging. It will not transfer data because it only has really it only has 2 conductors to charge. Why? And I'm wondering if somebody made something like this, something that you can put between the device and the connection at the airport in order
They
to
do.
they do. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
There's a couple of different companies. The one I've got right here, it's called the Porta Pow, POW. And it is a device that you put in line. The only problem with it is it's USB A. And most of the time, these devices that you're worried about plugging into, you don't get access to the USB A connector. Typically, it'll just be a USB C or a Lightning connector on kind of a pigtail. But these devices,
Mm,
they strip the data pins, so the only pins that they're passing through are the power. Um, these work, but only in certain use cases. And they're cheap. This is, I think, six bucks
yeah.
for this one. Um,
And let's not forget that power delivery requires data.
for fast charging and things like that.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is what you want when you connect to a. The solution here, people, is do not rely on the charger in
Right.
the airport. Bring your own charger with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just bring a regular 120-volt charger.
Yeah.
Don't use a
Yeah.
USB. Now I'm looking at there's a different product here. Again, I haven't used any of these, so buyer beware. This is a 4-pack. It's 2 USB Type A's and actually USB Type C's. So you could do the same thing with this. You could plug it into the male end side of a USB-C cable and pass it through to your phone or laptop as well.
Okay. Yeah. Good. I mean, sometimes if somebody may be traveling and they forgot to do it. I mean, I would say get a power pack.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
you can't always bring those around. Like I've got that
Oh,
big power pack. It's too big to fly with it. You know, it's too big of a battery.
Yeah, but take one the size of a phone, right?
Yeah.
And then you're good. Yeah.
yeah. All
Like
right.
part of my travel kit always includes a battery. I rarely use them. I mean, phone batteries today they hold a charge an entire day usually. So as long as you remember to charge it before you left, everything's good, right? So
Yeah.
I find it strange
Right.
people who have we now have around 15 years of experience of work of carrying around a cell phone, right? And people still get caught with an uncharged phone.
Yeah. That phone.
It's like this is your lifeline, sort of, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that you need to take care of is keeping it charged, and even when that you're not successful. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like figure out a routine already. I think this is the only routine I'm actually good of. I think I'm better at keeping my phone charged than brushing my teeth. So
You know, the, my experience with the phone battery about a month ago, I started paying attention. I don't want to get it hot with the new battery. If I charge it with the regular charger, I charge it at night. I put it under my pillow because I want to know if something happens at Delta Force. But in the morning, the battery side of the phone is hot.
yeah, but it's
It's
also because you put it under the pillow.
well, I tried to put it outside, and it does. I mean, this doesn't happen if I leave it because it stayed for. I have to do it every other day because the battery holds it for 2 days,
Okay.
and even if I put it outside, it still gets hot. So I went ahead and I found in the box a USB charger that was less than half an amp. Said, okay, that's slow, so it should be.
Yeah, but
That
it's too slow, no?
well, but remember, if you leave it for charging 8 9 hours, it's enough, and it was enough, but it was still getting it hot. Here is the kicker. One time I forgot to not that I forgot. I mean, it was the second day, and I was going somewhere, and the phone had only about 30%. So I said, well, I've got that Apple charger, the 20 amp fast charger. Let me use that this time. It's okay. I put it on, and it stayed on for about an hour and a half. It filled it up, and the phone did not get hot at all.
Of course. That was what I was about to suggest. A smart charger, right, negotiates with the phone with the phone battery uh how much it needs.
Yeah, but
That's power delivery. That's
yeah.
exactly what's going on there.
Well, the problem is that, like I said, I'm using those magnetic things that just for charging.
And you
So
just need
I need a different cable that
right.
has data. You know what?
Well,
I'm going to
that's
try that.
so I can if you'll need to replace your magnetic
Right.
charging
Yeah.
cables,
Right.
right? But look at Volta Charge. That's their name, or Volta Charger. Sorry, Volta Charger. That is the name of the company of the cables that I've been using
Yeah.
for, I think, approximately the same time you're using magnetic chargers.
Yeah.
And um, and yeah, and they not only create, so their cables are data and charging, uh, but they are also selling adapters to regular cables. It looks like this. You see that tip over here?
Right.
If you focus. So this is this has the magnetic tip into it, and this here is a regular USB-C.
Mhm.
Okay, actually, this USB-C you see here, this black section, when it's connected to a phone, it shows how much amperage. That's why I use this cable for here. Check it. So the moment I connect it, you will see
Yeah.
that it shows how much ampere it's pushing.
Yeah.
Sorry, not ampere, watt.
What?
How many watts it's pushing. So this allows me to use regular cable, right, and connect it. I have a bunch of magnetic cables and I have a bunch of regular cables that it was with adapters. Um, and yeah, it works terrifically. Because one of the key things that I wanted when I bought those cables, I wasn't too much concerned about data, but I was concerned about fast charging. Um, these phones, they do not come with what Samsung comes with or what Apple comes with. They come with their own. Uh, they were one of the forefront when fast charging was started, and this is like a Chinese standard. Um, Hook, I think that's the name. And so I wanted to make sure that uh, that will work, and with these cables and with these adapters, it works. So, but
Nice.
it cost me to replace all of. I committed. I replaced, like, there's, I do not have regular cable. I have regular cables in the drawer, but
Mhm.
I hardly use them.
Yeah.
Right. I everywhere that we have a charger, I have these
You put one of
cables
those.
in the
Yeah.
car. I have one in the backpack where I take to the office. So it's a
Yeah, but
commitment.
they're
And if
not
something
how
breaks,
much
a
how
tip
much is
breaks, or you need to order a replacement, but
how
yeah,
much is one of them?
they're expensive. So
Like,
the cable can go without any sales or something to $20.
okay.
So, but once I bought them, right, the company gives a lifetime guarantee.
Okay.
And I did get situation where some of the tips broke, either from falling or just wear. Like suddenly the tip came out and something got stuck in the connector. Like
You
it
mean
got,
that the part that goes in the
yeah,
phone?
I think I actually have,
It's a little
yeah,
bitty thing.
right. So I keep them. So it looks it looks
Yeah.
like this, right? This goes into the socket, and the other end is just the magnetic part. But sometimes when it breaks,
Mhm.
something like this can happen, where it's stripped. Yeah, the
Oh,
camera
wow.
can't even see it; it's so small. So let me put
Yeah.
it contrast to my face, maybe. So all I need to do is, when something like this happens, is, or here the ceramic at the bottom actually broke. So all I need to do when something like this happens is I open a support call and I send them a photo and I tell them it's broke, and they send me a new one. So yeah, I pay $20, but they last.
Mhm.
And if they don't, they replace them. And most of them last. I had a few breaks, but most of them last over the
Stop stop
past.
dropping your phone.
Hey, it's not just my phone. It's my phone,
Yeah.
Mati's phone,
Yeah.
Shai's phone. Shai actually doesn't like them. The reason he doesn't like them is because he does forget to charge from time to time, and then he's at the friend's house, or
Yeah.
and then he needs to
Well,
fidget, and he doesn't like that. So I understand him. That's fine. He's not an old guy nerd
mhm.
like his dad, but Mati likes it. She likes it, that it's very easy to connect,
And it
and
saves your devices too because you don't have to push it in and pull it out because a lot of devices, the connector that's in the phone or in the iPad or whatever, they break.
right, right. I have it like on everything. This is
Yeah.
Amazon tablet, right?
Yeah.
This is micro USB. So the same cable will
Yep.
charge this and will charge that. Yes, I have these things sticking out of every every USB powered device, but it just makes life a lot easier.
Mhm. Yep, yep. Alright, good, good. Alright, let's keep going here. One of the world's largest private BitTorrent trackers, FileList, has announced it will shut down soon. The site has been in operation for 16 years and enjoys millions of monthly visits, mostly from Romania. Site admin has chosen to devote time to other parts of life, and without a trusted successor, it's best to close the doors. This is coming from Torrent Freak. So that's a shame that here's somebody who obviously provided great service and to a lot of people can't find a successor to take it over, so they're closing it down. Did you ever
Yeah,
hear?
but
Oh,
that is so we talked about criminal
yeah,
enterprises, right?
yeah.
I mean, that is the problem with this type of enterprise, right? It's like uh
But I mean, torrent, a BitTorrent site doesn't have to be a
no, but it's a
pirated stuff.
target,
Oh
right?
yeah,
It's
oh yeah,
not
yes,
it's
yes,
not a
yes, yes,
common,
yes,
like, unless you're literally the only thing you are sharing is Linux ISOs, right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Okay,
uh, it's hard to yeah, it's
keep it
hard to
up and
filter out
maintain. Yeah,
the fluff,
yeah,
right? So yeah, yeah.
yeah. Oh well. All
I'm
right, let's
surprised
see.
that it was run by a single person, but for such a long time.
Well,
He
um,
never he never brought anybody into his inner circle. Basically, that's what we understand here.
we talked about ad blockers many times. So YouTube's crackdown on ad blockers is in full swing, leading to a wave of ad blocker uninstalls. This is coming from 95 Google. As Wired reports, this rollout has led to hundreds of thousands of uninstalls, not of YouTube, but of ad blockers. The figures apparently come from various ad blocking companies, where October saw a record number of people uninstalling ad blockers. Meanwhile, it also led to a record number of new installs, as many users look to switch from one blocker to another in an effort to keep blocking
You mean
ads.
uninstalling the crappy ad blocker?
Well, okay, yeah. One ad blocking company, Ghostery, shared that 90% of users who completed a survey when uninstalling their ad blocker cited YouTube's change as a reason. AdGuard told Wired that daily uninstalls were up for the entirety of October, spiking to 52,000 in a single day on October 18, as YouTube's notices started rolling out more widely. It was added that use of the Ghostery blocker is up 30% on Microsoft Edge, as some users have noticed that switching browser, at least temporarily, lifts the blocking of their blocker. AdGar, meanwhile, saw its paid subscription rise as some users reportedly saw success with continuing to block ads using the tool. Um, I think I'm using some kind of a ad blocker. I
You're
think,
using
but
uBlock Origin. That's the one I force all of my friends to use.
so are you having problems with YouTube? Oh, how about you, Nick?
I also use uBlock Origin. I don't know if it was Gal's recommendation or not, but no, I haven't had any problems. But yeah, I
Actually,
mean,
I am not using uBlock Origin. I'm using a fork of it called Ad Nauseum,
Oh,
because
okay.
what Ad Nauseum does, it also obfuscates your profile by basically in the background actively clicking the ads in random.
Can you put a link in the chat?
Uh, sure, sure,
Yeah, I
I'll do
mean,
that. It's the same, though. Don't get me wrong. It's the same. It's just also retaliation.
yeah.
This is active retaliation. I was worried at first that it won't work as good as uBlock Origin, but it's basically a fork, and they keep updated. And it's uBlock Origin with this additional functionality. You do not feel any difference. And it hasn't hindered any performance issues or anything like that. I've been using it for a long time now, and yeah, I like the fact this is not only blocking them. This is basically being back.
I wonder
Well,
if
you
you
know,
could.
but okay, but I hold on a second. I've got a huge problem with you using this plugin. So it's clicking the ads in the background.
Right.
So I'm a small business and I'm purchasing ads through the Google
Yeah.
AdSense marketplace. And I am getting clicks on my ads now from your ad blocker, even though you're not seeing them. You're not hurting the website that's putting the ads on it. You're absolutely screwing the small business who's paying for ads that you're not seeing. They're the only ones that are getting screwed in this whole thing.
That's an interesting idea. I don't think I agree. Uh,
What do you mean? I mean, that's exactly what happens. You pay per click on if you're on the Google
yeah,
ad
but
network, you're paying per
so
click.
uh,
You are. I mean,
you
that's how it
are
works. That's how
paying
the
for
Google ad
click.
marketplace
You are
works.
paying for click. Okay. Uh, and on the websites that I use this, right, where
Well, let's talk about YouTube.
there's more. It's an interesting notion. Uh, I don't think I'm affecting that much. You might be right. Right. I need to think about it. But the ones I'm fighting here is my profiling, and that's the key. I do not want to be profiled with anything, and I cannot effectively stop the profiling. Right. And so I can block things from coming to me, but I cannot stop profiling. And by randomly clicking things, right, the profile that is being created is a false one. So at least
Sure.
I am able to lock them from doing that to me. Um, it's an interesting idea. I need to think about it. Let me read about more about how this affects and see if there's any statistics
Well, I
about
mean,
this.
look, I have to agree with Nick though. If in the background it clicks on an ad, then and you
I
don't
understand.
see
I
it,
understand the mechanic.
yeah,
I've never thought about this, and I will
yeah,
look into it. And if that's a problem, I will definitely switch back.
yeah, interesting. All right.
Now we're talking about YouTube and Google. That's a whole different ballpark. I mean,
Right.
the advertisers on the ad market on YouTube versus traditional banner ads on a website, or even though they are both Google ad platforms, very very different in the way that they're set up. I don't particularly care about the advertisers on YouTube. You know what would be nice though, Gal, and I'm sure a plugin does this. Um, it would be cool and maybe uBlock does this, if I could set certain YouTube channels to see ads on. Because let me be clear, I'm not anti-advertiser. I mean, Christ Almighty, my salary is paid on based on commercials. I mean, that's literally how I get a paycheck. I am not anti-advertising. I but I have the same problem that everybody else does. You go to YouTube to search for um where are the fuses in my 2010 Volkswagen Jetta? and there's a 12-second video that shows where your fuse box is, and there's a 45-second non-skippable ad that starts off the video. It's bullshit. Um,
Agreed.
and I don't have a problem with ads. I use YouTube. I think I think you mentioned a couple months ago we were talking about this. Your son is like this. He watches a vast majority of his content on his phone, and I do the same thing. And I don't have YouTube Premium, so I see plenty of ads. I don't have an issue with it. Um, I wonder if there's a U block fork or something that would allow me on certain channels to turn the blocking off. Because again, I don't. I'm all for the advertiser supported model. It's just too overboard on the whole platform.
I haven't searched, but I'm sure there are like YouTube specific ad blockers.
Yeah,
Um, and then you block specifically, you'll just whitelist YouTube and you'll let
yeah.
the other ad blocker do the work. Uh, Definitely a possibility.
That would be pretty cool because it's nice to the there's this concept that anybody that runs these ad blockers is anti-advertisement, and I'm just not. I mean, I've got the television on right now watching the early NFL game over in Germany. There's commercials on. Doesn't bother me. Um, but again, there are times when just you're trying to you have to watch 7 or 8 YouTube videos to try and quick YouTube videos to try and find something out, and you spend the vast majority of that time watching non-skippable pre-roll ads, and it's
Mm.
incredibly frustrating, especially if you're in a tight time crunch or you're dealing with you're kind of in a panic situation. You're out, your car won't start. You're trying to figure out what the hell you need to do, and you're watching non-skippable ad after non-skippable ad. It
Let me ask you this: do
drives you
you pay
crazy.
for a music subscription?
I do.
What, Spotify?
Spotify. And
Switch
I
to
will not
YouTube
be
Music.
switching. I don't want to use YouTube Music. I did a trial of it. I wasn't happy with it.
I
I didn't like it.
literally don't know what you're missing, right? Because they're pretty much the same. They're not exactly the same. I agree. But think about if you switch to the premium, right? You also go away with all of the ads.
So, so there's a couple things.
Mhm.
I do actually like a couple of the Spotify exclusive podcasts. I do listen to Joe Rogan, so that's one thing. Now I could listen to him on a free account with ads. I can do that.
Exactly.
Um, but there are a couple features of Spotify, Gal, that are pretty cool. And one of
Like,
the cool ones is hanging out with my friends, and we've got, there's always a Bluetooth speaker on. And if you're
I
long
agree.
as you're as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you can actually all add to the playlist from the person that's playing. And I do that pretty regularly, a couple times a week. So that's a
Yeah,
pretty cool feature.
they
They
got
got me by the
that
balls.
stuff tied up. I agree.
Um, but I have looked at it before, and maybe I'll try another trial on on an older YouTube account and try it again. Because I'm not married to Spotify. Um,
Right.
so maybe I'll try it again.
Yeah, you just want the
But yes,
So
music.
yeah,
if
when
you
I
are not
switched,
married to some of the Spotify features, the YouTube Premium offering is pretty lucrative. I mean, what you're getting for the price is a pretty damn good deal.
look, I paid 20, I think $21 a month for a family subscription.
Mhm.
We're 3 users. So this allows each user to have their own taste, their own profile, their own everything, right? And so yeah, I'm paying a bit more than uh, I don't know how much does a Spotify account, a
Spotify's up
singular one?
to $11 a month, I think.
$11, right? So yeah, so for 3 people, it makes sense, right? 3 plus people. Uh, and instead of the I don't remember 17 or 18 for the premium, I added a few more bucks, and we have the YouTube premium as well.
Yeah.
And that like that was the main reason for me to switch. And yes, I do miss the Spotify play everywhere stuff, but one of the things that Spotify does not allow you is to use the same account in different locations. YouTube doesn't care about that. So
What
you
do you
can
mean?
play you cannot play 2 different songs on 2 different devices from Spotify, from your account
Oh,
in Spotify,
that is true. It's
right?
single
Right.
account playback.
And
Yeah.
yes, and there's a reason for that in the design, and that is what allows tying into to a speaker very close by, very easily, and all that. I understand that, But once you lose it, you get other stuff. Like you're not okay. You want to play something on the speakers, and you put that on. But now you're also, somebody sent you a link to a video or something. You put your headset, you listen to it for a few seconds. You didn't stop the music. It doesn't forget where you are. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
So pros and cons, right? It's like
sure.
I agree. It's not the same, but what do you get more out of it? And that's the real question.
And it's a fair question. Yeah. I'll look at YouTube Premium again this week. I'll report back.
All right.
It's what's inevitably going to happen is Spotify does one more price increase and I'm gone. I mean, I'm not happy at 11. I can justify it, but if it goes any higher than 11, I'm probably out. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Okay. If you try to place an order through the DoorDash app without leaving a tip, you may get this pop up. Orders with no tip might take longer to get delivered. Are you sure you
Good.
want to continue?
Capitalism, baby. You want your shit there on time and not half eaten by your driver, you better tip.
And if I want to give the driver a tip in cash,
It's
I think you can you can send them a message. I've done that before.
The note goes on. Dashers can pick and choose which orders they want to do. Orders that take longer to be accepted by Dashers tend to result in a slower delivery. In other words, tip your drivers or prepare to wait a long time for a cold meal. Customers are then given the option to add a tip or continue without one. Um, this is the same. This is the same thing that they do now. Not the same thing, but something that they do in a lot of the fast food. I mean, when Spence is in town, we go once a week to uh, Subway, and I always, I take the change and I put it in the jar. Now, when you are paying, especially with a credit card, they want you to add it right there.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is very very manipulative.
Yep.
I don't do it. I don't play the game. I bought it. I went into a beer shop the other day on Halloween to pick up a couple of pumpkin beers before I went over to an event. And same thing. I literally walked in. I was in the store no more than maybe 14 seconds. I picked up exactly what I needed off the shelf, and it said, "Oh, select your tip. No tip." I saw something on Instagram. I don't know what grocery store chain it was. It wasn't one that looked familiar. This guy was doing self checkout, and at the end of the self checkout, there was a
Tip.
prompt to add a tip. And he goes, "Was am I tipping myself? Like, what the hell? Who am I tipping here? Nobody has helped me with anything.
Yep.
I'm doing literally all of this myself." Um, it's
Amazing.
become a real problem.
Mm. Well,
It's become a real problem. It's very predatory.
yep. Yep. All right. Um, 40 countries in a US led alliance plan to sign a pledge never to pay ransom to cyber criminals and to work toward eliminating the hackers' funding mechanism. The International Counter Ransomware Initiative comes as a number of ransomware attacks grows worldwide. The United States is by far the worst hit. 46% of such attacks. Um, the advisor to the president told reporters that information, as well as as long as there is money flowing to ransomware criminals, this is a problem that will continue to grow. I know a few companies that had ransomware and they never paid it and they recovered. Now, yes, they had to pay to for different teams to come in and do their thing, and but I mean, at least the money went to local company, to the local economy, instead of going somewhere to China or Russia or India or whatever. So that makes sense, but I think it's easier said than done, because a lot of companies,
Exactly.
yeah, a lot of companies would, and I don't know anybody that got attacked by ransomware, paid, and got restored right away. I'm wondering how it would work for a small company if they went ahead and paid, did the calculations, and I said, yeah, it's easier to pay the ransom, if they got back online right away, like it was promised.
Oh, they
And
do. I mean, I have never heard in any of these ransomware attacks that these guys have paid this stuff out and then their data's still locked. As shady as these individuals are, and they actually follow through on, because if they stopped following through, it would destroy the whole industry. That's why they do it.
true.
I mean, they have no choice. If you went out and paid, you know, whatever it is, $25,000 or whatever the ransom is, and then you didn't get your data back, it would just be the end of the whole ransomware industry.
Yeah, it's a good
What I
point.
find interesting about this industry is is the structure. So there is a hacker that is in charge of placing the malicious payload, right? That's one party. There is another hacker that is in charge of pointing which the targets, basically, right? And they do not necessarily know each other. They have like they're using systems where this person can do their job, this person can do their job, and there's a third party that is in charge of collecting the fees and distributing the keys, right? The encryption keys. So it's like it's a complete ecosystem of different actors, basically the capitalist system, the purest capitalist system there is, right? Where neither of the parties have a direct agreement with one another as from person to person, but system to system. And this allows them this distribution of skill and knowledge. Everybody gets paid some part of that ransom eventually. It is ridiculous how effective uh, the system is, and how powerless you are when you get hit, when you weren't protected, and when you do not have a solid way of recovering from it in advance. So, which is 90 something percent of the time. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So just
it's
remember,
terrible. It's horrible. Yeah.
be careful what you're opening and what you're looking at, and don't, and again we say it. Nobody's going to ask you to log in and confirm your password or any of that stuff. That's always a scam. And talking about scams, the top level domain for the United States, .us, is home to thousands of newly registered domains tied to a malicious link shortening service that facilitates malware and phishing scams.
Nice.
But .us was always riddled with uh, malware. It wasn't a domain that people really went after because they say, "Oh yeah, that fits me." It was always used by bad actors. As a matter of fact, I think on Delta Force we block any .us uh, traffic. So
What are you,
uh,
anti-American or something?
what?
So what are you,
That's
anti-American or something?
I mean, I don't know that .us is actually that's
It's
what it
not.
stands for.
No, no, it's
It's
not.
somebody got it. It's probably some country somewhere that
No,
got
I think .us is US, but I'm trying to think. There's there's some service or company that I use that is a .us domain, and I don't remember what it is. See if I can find it.
I don't know. It always was a
It's
problem.
not very popular though.
Yeah. Um, Researchers at Infoblox says they've been tracking what appears to be a 3-year-old link shortening service that is catering to phishers and malware purveyors. Infoblox found the domain involved are typically 3 to 7 characters long and hosted on bulletproof hosting providers that charge a premium to ignore any abuse or legal complaints. So yeah, it's being abused. Let's put it this way. And if it's being abused, it's no longer, as far as I'm concerned, it's no longer a valid domain or for legal stuff, for everyday stuff. So that yeah, I tell people, yeah, your domain is not available in the .com or .net, or don't go with .us. It's probably available, but don't go with that.
Oh, of course, the big one, Zoom.
Is using a .us?
Zoom is .zoom.us.
Interesting.
It's not zoom.com. I knew there was a big one that I used for it.
Huh.
But yeah, it's zoom.us.
I still get, well, come to think of it, I don't get email from Zoom.
Yeah, because you probably have them freaking blocked.
Well, that's fine.
Oh, might not be.
Eh. Um, let's see. Here is something from an old story that is developing. In a surprising development on Monday that is spooking the cybersecurity community, the SEC filed charges against SolarWinds and its chief information security officer, Timothy Brown, alleging that the software company misled investors about its cybersecurity practices and known risks. The charges stem from alleged fraud and internal control failure related to known cybersecurity weaknesses that took place between the company's October 2018 initial public offering and its December 2020 revelation of the infamous supply chain cyber attack dubbed Sunburst. So the SEC complaint also points to internal communication among solar wind employees, including Brown, in 2019 2020, which raised questions about the company's ability to protect its critical assets from cyber attacks. And SolarWinds was, a big name. I mean, I'm sure they
Huge
still
name.
are.
Yeah.
And they're embedded so deep in so many systems.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Who's doing this though? Is this the FTC or the SEC?
SEC.
Okay, well, good. At least they'll have a chance there. If it was the FTC, you could guarantee you they were going to lose whatever it was.
Yeah. Um, Users have been reporting that their iPhone 15 NFC chips were failing after using BMW's in car wireless charging. But until now, Apple hasn't addressed the complaints. That seems to have changed as Mac Rumors reported this week that an Apple internal memo to third-party repair providers says the software update later this year should prevent a small number of in-car wireless chargers from temporarily disabling iPhone 15 NFC chips. What's the NFC chip? I don't
NFC
know.
chip is the one used for uh, um, like touch communication between two phones,
Oh, hmm. Well,
Apple
You,
Pay, and all that.
Amnon, you remember back in the day when we bought those little chips off of eBay that you'd program and you'd set your phone down on top of it and open a website or something like that?
oh, sure, yeah.
You we
No, I don't.
back when NFC first came out, we bought. I bought them. I thought you bought a set too. They look like little keychains, and you would put them on desks and tables, and you could put your phone down on top of it, and it would perform an action.
No, I never had that.
Now,
Not that I
that
RFID. You know
remember,
what
anyway.
RFID is?
Yeah,
RFID is read by
work.
NFC.
Okay, all right.
near field communication is the name of
So
the
I don't know why
protocol.
BMWs cruise it.
Well, because it's probably putting out too much power and frying the frying the NFC chip,
Yeah.
which is probably exactly what's happening. 'Cause it's very very low power, like tens of milliamps worth of power.
All right. ChatGPT. OpenAI is rolling out beta versions, beta features for ChatGPT Plus members right now. Subscribers have reported that the update includes the ability to upload files and work with them, as well as multimodal support. Basically, users won't have to select modes like browse with Bing from the GPT-4 dropdown. It will instead guess that they want what they want based on context. The new feature brings a dash of the Office features offered by ChatGPT Enterprise plan to the standalone individual chatbot subscription. So you'll be able to upload your file and get what you want out of it. And that's interesting because I remember that Hannah wanted to do a what do you call it when you think an article and you get the
Summary.
huh?
Summary.
Summary, and she couldn't because all the articles were behind the firewall at the university, and that's stuff that she wrote. So this here will allow you to upload it, but I'm wondering if that they also said, oh yeah, but once you upload it, we can use it. I don't know.
Once you upload it to the free version, for sure they will
Well, no, this is not going to
own
be
a copy.
available for. This is for ChatGPT Plus,
Mm.
which is the people that pay. Yeah.
An expected progression,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice. Comcast suffered. Bloomberg reports that Comcast stock prices took its biggest drop in over a year Tuesday after reporting drops in broadband and cable subscribers
Oh my God, no,
and predicting more losses to come.
no, impossible.
Cord cutting and increasing competition have eroded Comcast's traditional customer base. The company, which owns Xfinity, the NBC Universal Media Empire, and Sky TV, lost 490,000 cable TV customers in the third quarter. Better than analysts expected, but
um
part of an ongoing trend.
can we agree on something
Yeah.
that we don't care?
We don't.
I'll
It's just
explain what I mean.
interesting.
I'll explain what I mean. Okay, this is a company that has bet its whole fortune, even while it was on decline, right,
Mhm.
on cable.
Yep.
Now, if it was openly communicating with its stockholders, right? Then it would have said, look, we're doing it because we're switching to internet. But we keep hearing analysts analyzing the loss of cable.
Yeah.
I don't need an analyst to tell me that cable is a lost cause, right? B, if you're running a company that right now its major income is cable, then explain to whoever you're running it for, right? For your shareholders, explain how you're going to transition out of it, not how much you're going to lose from it, right? That's what pisses me off. The discussion is always, oh, there's a loss, boo hoo, right? If this was a country, right? If this was a government, right? Then the people would want to know, okay, so how do we move forward from
Yeah.
this? No, how do we keep crying wolf, right? So that's my problem with all of these discussions. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, this mega corporation is losing its main base because it's outdated. So how do you make it dated? How do you catch up for the times? And they do. They own almost the entire market of internet, right?
Mhm.
So explain how you're going to make that better, right? That's the thing. It's like something about this discussion always infuriates me. Sorry. Yeah,
Well, they're
I'm
going
I'm
to
off my
make
soapbox.
some money though,
They're going to make a lot of money all
because
the time.
Disney will acquire Comcast's one-third stake in Hulu for an expected $8.61 billion
Yeah.
in a deal that will put the streaming service entirely inside the Magic Kingdom when the transaction closes later this year. The acquisition of Comcast's stake in Hulu at fair market value will further Disney's streaming objective. So they're going to make 8.6 million. That will hold them for a couple of months.
Billion.
Billion. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a small difference.
Yeah. And I don't know, is it I
Disney
don't know.
is a company on decline,
Oh yes, it is.
big
Absolutely.
time. I mean,
Yeah.
their stock, if you look at it over the last like 5 or 6 years, I mean, if you had bought, and their stock was trading at like 250 or something like that just a couple of years ago. I think it's down to the 70s now. I mean, they're in
Yeah.
rough shape over at Disney.
Yeah, and they're trying all kind of things, I guess. They don't they're not trying. They should be trying different, diversify, do
Well, they
something.
they are. I mean, they're
Yeah.
diversifying into streaming and all this other
Yeah.
stuff, and that's all fine and dandy. But it's still
And
a company in decline.
Microsoft has decided to axe the Windows Insider MVP program. Is that the same as Windows Insider? Or there's Windows Insider
Probably
and
not.
Windows Insider MVP?
They probably get it a week before.
Oh,
I'm guessing. I just don't know.
which is now scheduled to be discontinued at the end of the year. They decided to do it right away. In an effort to consolidate MVP style programs across Microsoft, we have decided to retire the Windows Insider MVP program effective December 31st. That's what it said back then. All of our existing Windows Insider MVP will be nominated to participate in the Microsoft MVP program, which has similar benefits and opportunities to continue networking with us and interacting with many other Microsoft MVP globally.
Yeah,
The other
Yeah.
corporate
thing,
rebranding.
the other,
So this this was for content creators. Looking at the list, a lot of YouTubers and people that are in the tech space that would get these builds before it would get to the insider
right.
program
Yeah. Oh,
for
okay.
content
So,
creation.
okay.
So the insider thing is still there. Anybody can become a Windows insider. You just have to like click the button to be part of it. The MVP was specifically for um, content creators. It says
Yeah.
speakers, content creators, and people like that, like blog and tech writers.
And I did not listen to Infection last week. Did you guys talk
Uh,
about Microsoft and Xbox?
what about it?
they took away that benefit from employees. Employees were getting free
Game
Xbox
Game Pass.
Game Pass. They took that away
Yeah.
from. They
I'm
did.
sure there's still a deep discount on it. I can see them getting rid of it though. And the reason I can see that is because they're about to make I believe I have nothing to back this up. But I believe they're about to make a big change to the Game Pass now that they've closed on their Activision Blizzard merger. Game Pass is likely to be um changed to include World of Warcraft and things like that that Activision is traditionally or Blizzard has traditionally charged for. So I think you're going to see a big overhaul of the Game
Yeah,
Pass tier.
they were saying that the only people that will still have it are the developers of people that work in the
Sure.
Xbox department,
Yeah.
quote
I'm sure
unquote.
there's still a pretty hefty discount. Um,
Yeah,
but I
you
mean, if
have
you're a
to buy
Microsoft
it.
employee, you'd probably be
You
pretty
have to
pissed
buy
about
it
it.
through the internal store. Yeah, you have to
Sure.
pay for it. Yeah. And the last thing here, a British software company is giving Meta 30 days to stop using the name Threads in the UK because it owns the trademark. They have the
Huh?
Threads tra- trademark. What you say, God?
Who has the threads trademark?
Uh,
Meta
it's
through Instagram.
actually Threads Software Limited in the UK. That's the company.
Ah,
Say its
what?
lawyers wrote to
Yeah,
the
well, I
Facebook.
mean, we've seen this with Microsoft and Windows for years.
Well,
Yeah, it's shitty. Hey, we've seen it with Nissan,
yeah,
right? It's like, uh,
I think Microsoft will probably buy them out, and that's it.
Wait, why is this Microsoft? You said this is Meta, isn't it?
I mean, Meta will
Yeah, I was going
probably
to say
they
buy
will
this
them.
is Meta,
try.
Sorry,
Facebook, and Threads.
yeah, no,
They will
it's
try. The real question is, will they pay? Will they give a
I,
good deal?
I don't
Right?
know.
Yeah.
Last Thursday I lost my crystal ball. I don't know where it is. Can't find it, so I can't tell you. Yeah,
I hate this shitty.
I mean, they have attorneys. Didn't they do their job and research before the name is okay? That's what we're going to use. And I don't see how they can stop using it just in the UK. Have a different name for it here and different name in the UK. That's
Well, that's
but
how it works. I mean, the trademark in the United States is not trademark across the world.
no, I understand.
It's
But
like what Gmail, right? Gmail in Germany
yeah,
is Google Mail because Gmail is a trademark of a German company or
oh,
something.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
or at
so
least it was, back in early 2000s when they started. I don't know what if that's the case anymore.
okay. All right.
But I like you didn't read it from Engadget, right? So the title I see here is a software company called Threads says Meta try to buy its domain and kicked it off Facebook. It's like they already had so they already acted in bad faith basically when they said no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So now that makes a lot of more sense of why we're hearing about this, right? It's like they've already made a bad move. And if this goes to court with this, if this is exactly how it went, then
They're gonna
Meta is
lose.
going to lose,
Yeah.
Now, Gal,
right?
hold on a second. I will not sit here and allow you to defame the good praises of Mark Zuckerberg, Meta, and Facebook. I will not stand for it, Gal. How dare
Of
you
course,
make such
because
an
otherwise
accusation?
you
But
will
it's
be deemed anti-Semitic, so you can't.
Okay, you're
it's
right. You're
it's
right. Yeah, that's exactly how this all
it's
works.
okay, Nick. You're not
No, Gal
standing.
is spot on with this. They go to court, and this company's like, hey, these scumbags not only tried to harass us, but then kicked us off Facebook.
Yeah.
That ain't a good look. That's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
real bad look for them. But they've got hundreds of millions of dollars worth of corporate attorneys and likely
Yeah,
owning
they'll drag them
politician
through the courts for sure.
yeah, or own the judges and politicians and wherever this is taking place. But that's a pretty bad look.
Look,
Yep.
we've all closely followed uh, uh, Uzi's battle with Nissan, right?
Hmm.
And the only reason that battle went for what 10 years, Amnon,
Yeah.
is because Uzi didn't need to pay it out of his pocket, right? Because it was under business insurance.
Right.
Uh, if that's the case, if they're insured, then it'll go on and it'll drag and drag. But at least they might. You never end up a victor in this type of war, right? Because it
Unless you're one of
depletes
the
your
attorneys.
energy.
Unless you're one of the attorneys.
Yeah, only the attorney is
Yeah.
the winner. I agree. Yeah, that's always.
Yep. 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 Yeah. And last week, or actually a couple of months ago, all this fight and everything of victory sort of went up in smoke because apparently somebody stole it after he passed away.
Ah,
Yep.
Somebody stole Nissan.com.
Yeah, they somehow they I mean you can just Google about Nissan latest updates and they said somehow it was transferred and somebody else got it and I don't know how things like this can happen, but apparently they can happen.
Hmm.
Yeah, so now the family is suing the the
the
so-called thief
registrar.
that they don't know who it is. They're suing the
Who's that?
unknown thief.
I would sue the registrar.
Well, I know. Well, I don't know. The registrar has certain rules that he goes by, and they can't make decisions. It's okay if somebody is showing me that they can provide this and provide this and provide this, then I have to go along with them.
We do
He
know what Uzi's safeguards were,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So
Uzi's main safeguard was his phone. And he said,
right,
even if I ask to transfer it, you have to call me.
right.
Now, what happens when the family did not keep his phone going and it expired, it's gone or whatever, and somebody's trying to call and try to call and they just get there's nobody here and they don't know how to get in touch any other way. There's comes a time when you say, well, look, we can't get in touch with them and who knows? So yeah. Oh well. Water under the bridge. Anyway, it's that time of day. Anybody wants to add anything? No. All right. Well, thanks, God. And thanks, Nick. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers Stuka Out. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. And if you have any same passwords anywhere that you're using the same password on two different sites, change it. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily news and commentary show. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave and listen to him, or you can go later on to the recordings at nickcraig.com. And Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Nick and Brian do the infection podcast
Don't
on
promote the live.
Twitch.
Just mention the website. The live doesn't matter.
All right. So yeah, infection podcast on Twitch, but you also the website? You mean the show on
Just
Twitch?
promote
Yeah.
the website. When it's live, doesn't matter. The
Okay.
podcast is always up on the website.
So you go to twitch.tv/infection podcast, one word. And so you post what day it's going to be when it's different. It was always Tuesday.
Just listen to the recording after the fact at infectionpodcast.com. That's good.
Okay.
That suffices. When it's live, doesn't really matter.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll be back together next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archive section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.